Welcome to Chronic Health. I'm your host, Ryan Lovelace, and today is episode 2 of my series called One Simple Rule, where I give you just a simple step to follow to start you on your healthy journey. Getting healthy can seem like an overly daunting task, but it doesn't need to. With the easy rules that I give you, you can apply these today. You can start with them immediately, and this will get you on your path to a healthier you. My one simple rule for today is cut out added sugar. Now, added sugar, what is it? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's sugar added to things to either make it sweeter or more palatable. Now, there is naturally occurring sugar in things as well. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, what manufacturers literally will take regular just table sugar, add it to things to make, like I said, make it sweeter or more palatable. Imagine you're drinking a no sugar soft drink, right? You take a spoonful of sugar, add to that soft drink. What you added, the grams that you added, would be considered added sugar. It's just sugar that's put in that wasn't already naturally in whatever you're eating. So if you cut out added sugar, you'll do two things. Number one, you'll be consuming less calories. So less calories consumed equals less spike in your insulin, less blood sugar. And because your insulin doesn't spike as high, your fat storage won't be as high. Think high insulin, high fat storage. Because whenever you eat added sugar, things with added sugar in it, those are what's called simple carbs. Simple carbs your body doesn't need to break down. It's basically as soon as it goes into your system, it's already ready to be used. And it could hit your bloodstream as quickly as like 30 minutes. So 30 minutes after you consume something with a bunch of added sugar, you get a spike in energy. Why? Because that sugar that was in that added sugar that was in that food goes immediately to your bloodstream. And then once it gets in there, your body produces insulin. And then that insulin takes the sugar, takes the glucose in your blood, and then puts it in the cells. And then when it puts it in the cells, that's the energy burst you get. Problem is, cells can only handle so much energy. So when insulin tries to put even more in there, the cell says, hey, I can't handle that. So insulin doesn't just get rid of it. It says, okay, instead of using this as energy now, we'll store it as fat later. So if you consume less or no added sugar, you'll be consuming less calories just by default. The second thing cutting out added sugar does is if you cut out added sugar, it mentally gets you thinking about what you eat. It mentally gets you thinking about, okay, what am I putting in my body? What's my body doing with it? And it gets you thinking about what you're putting in your system. Eating should never be mindless. If eating is mindless, overeating becomes routine. And remember, sugar is not the enemy. Carbs is not the enemy. Overconsumption, that's the enemy. Eating too much, that's the enemy. Some fruits, on a daily basis is good stuff. Even natural sugar, too much, fruit could spike your insulin, spike your fat storage. So if you cut out added sugar, man, that's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of glucose your body isn't, putting in your bloodstream. That's a lot of insulin that isn't being put into your blood, and that's a lot of fat storage that's not going on. Here's a tip on how to implement cutting out added sugar. Don't go out and just buy a bunch of brand new stuff or a bunch of stuff that has no sugar, no added sugar. Don't do that. What you need to do is when you run out of something, just replace it with something that has no sugar or no added sugar. It says on the label, no added sugar. That way you slowly implement, consuming less sugar to your body, because right now your body might be used to elevated sugar levels. So if it's right there, it then craves that sugar level. But if you slowly wean it off all this added sugar, it'll be much easier for you to do this no added sugar thing in the long term. Because if you cut everything out cold turkey, you're much less likely to keep going with this thing in the long term. Don't choose or don't try to do something just for the next 30 days. Think, what can I do for the next year? And cutting out added sugar is something you can definitely do for the next year, especially if you incorporate this tip of just slowly adding things in that have less sugar in it.